You know, I can remember growing up in what was then rural Upminster, which is now part of Greater London. I can remember the farmers turning up in their vans during the week, one selling his vegetables and another selling his eggs, which my mum would buy on the doorstep, something that you never see anymore. Farming these days is much more factory-like and intense, but the farms are closing. Problems with subsidies, rules and regulations, it's driving a lot of farmers out of business. So those days are long, long gone. And it does mean that around the countryside, you will see abandoned farm buildings, farm land obviously sold off for development. But here in Gothfield in North Essex, some farm buildings have had an extraordinary transformation. These ones here, I'm at the Petersfield Antiques Village, which has been responsible for this transformation, and we're going to find out more about it. Welcome to Grey Matters. Hello then, and welcome to Grey Matters, the channel that promotes the fact that older generation still matters and has relevance, and obviously issues that matter to the generations. Now, as I said in the introduction, I'm here at Petersfield Antiques Village to look at how this place has been so imaginatively repurposed from being the original farm buildings. And I'm here with John Potter and Charles Dawson, who are the directors of Gothfield Antiques Limited, and they're hopefully going to tell us more about it. Morning, gents.
Morning.
So, what can you actually tell me about these buildings before they became the Antique Centre?
So they were purely farm buildings, storage buildings for tractors, buildings that are...
He's got a thing about tractors. He's got a thing about tractors.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. It's the way I said, keep going about tractors.
Have you got your own track?
I'd love my own tractor. Unfortunately, a little model one. But so no, it was storage for hay, straw.
I mean, it was a working farm.
Yeah.
Behind us, the farmhouse is still here, Petersfield Farm.
Right, that's the white.
That's the white building.
Yeah.
And this was the working part of the farm.
Yeah.
Right.
And the what is the tea rooms now was stables for 3 shine horses.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's quite a big farm, and it farmed about 600-700 acres around this area.
So do you know why they fell out of use?
They didn't fall out of use as such. It was the owner, Michael Butler, had a friend or a business colleague who was very into antiques. He runs auctions and things like that. And he came up with the idea, and Michael thought it was a great idea, to convert the whole place into an antique village.
Oh, okay.
I think it was also at the time when a lot of the farming work was being farmed out. You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know, particularly from programs like Clarkson's Farm, how difficult farming is now. And I was said in my introduction that I can remember the farmers coming around, knocking on your doors, selling you fruit and veg off the vans, which doesn't happen. These farms are a thing of the past. It's all very much more large-scale machinery. But with all the restrictions they've got on planning, and there's subsidies or lack of, and there's the financial constraints. I mean, they're selling off land wholesale for development, things like that. So to see buildings remaining and being put to use really is brilliant. And it keeps the countryside looking like the countryside.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, it's a good idea for business, because all the people the money that comes in for the business is a small amateur and semi-professional people that are selling antiques. None of their costs are high, but it's the amount of them that are here that creates the business, really, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
We'll talk about that business model soon. This is quite interesting.
It is.
But how did you get involved?
We got involved. Charles and myself were running a magazine, Essex Lifestyle, and that all stopped during COVID. Because obviously nobody was advertising, and we were doing what we could to earn money in various ways. And I was actually working over here, helping the farmer do some work on the farm, doing cladding a front of a barn. And I've always been involved over here in somewhere or another. I had a little shop here many years ago. And the place was really running down. It was running down before COVID, and it was getting worse after COVID.
It was on its knees.
It was on its knees, and it was dull and dark and dingy. And I said, how could the place be improved? He said, well, I just need someone to come along with an idea or a proposal. And I went,
Right.
So I said to Charles, an idea for, what do you think on this? And we didn't really even consider it, did we? We didn't go,
We didn't hesitate.
We didn't hesitate.
No, we just went for it. We created a business plan.
So where did you come in on this? I mean, John was here.
John was here because during COVID, you were allowed to sell fresh fruit and vegetables. And John had a little site outside, but just to get out of the house, basically.
Yeah,
and because at the time it was the back end of running the magazine, I used to come over here and we'd be planning the next copy of the magazine whilst we were sitting out here enjoying the sunshine.
Right.
And that's how the whole thing started in terms of a conversation. But once we realised that there was an opportunity, we grabbed it with both hands.
So what were your major tasks to do when you took over?
Clean the whole place because it was filthy. Fill up any shops that were empty. Reopen the toilets in the car parks, and reopen the tea rooms, and utilise the field on the back. All these things weren't being used.
Right. And no one knew about the place. It had become almost lost. So our biggest job really was the marketing side of it, getting the word out that it actually exists, which I think we've done a pretty good job.
Yeah, the signage at the end of the roads had been like that for the last 20 years, and it hadn't changed, or 15 years, and it hadn't changed, and it was dark green with an old English typeface, and you looked at it and you thought, oh.
And we wanted to change it from a situation, because when you arrived, it wasn't very welcoming at all.
Yeah.
So we wanted to change the facade at the front, make it a lot more inviting to come in and have a look round. I think we've achieved that.
Yeah, for instance, they had music playing here on a loop, Muzak, I might say, and it would run for 7 hours, I think, and then it would repeat again, and so that'd just be long enough.
It's a risk user.
Yeah,
everybody was teetering.
One of the things we did, we got a music license as soon as we got here, and we on a Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, we play Led Zeppelin.
That's under.
Two
It attracts a lot of people.
It attracts, but some people love it, and it actually does get rid of a few people when we want to go
when
we're out to the pub.
No, because we were not in the antiques business.
No,
we brought our marketing skills to a business that needed to be.
I remember you putting videos up on Facebook of the clean-up.
Yes, yeah.
We've actually on the top of
the shops. We hired an industrial vacuum cleaner.
Charles, you're saying about the marketing, and you had to sort of work out a strategy and stuff to promote the village, but isn't antiques a bit of a snobbish?
It's not snobbish at all. I'd say that, in fact, it's probably a role reversal, because a lot of people now are retiring earlier. They want something to do, and it can be very inexpensive collecting antiques, coins or whatever. So we have a lot of people arriving here that are of modest means, but take a lot of pleasure from it.
And we do get lots of youngsters in now, because the shops we've got here are quite diverse, retro type stuff. We get youngsters coming in to stock their houses with tables, chairs, picked in unusual images on the wall.
G-plan furniture is actually quite big with the youngsters now.
Got some G-plan here, and it's far more competitive price than going to somewhere like IKEA.
And it will last longer, no doubt, as well.
Oh,
without doubt, yeah.
But you say you're getting them in now, so what's changed?
I think we're open to new ideas more than how the place was run before.
We've opened a lot of new area to bring in more and more dealers that offer different products. So whereas it used to be very much sort of musty old bits and pieces, now we have got furnishings, clothing,
Yeah, I mean, the toilets used to be closed in the car park, which sounds a minor thing, but if you're talking about the older generation, the first thing that they want to visit when they've been driving for 20 minutes is the loo. And they used to have to traipse through the whole centre into what is now the tea room. There's up a ramp, through a door, through that. And they didn't like that.
No.
So we did the toilets before we officially took over. We cleaned the toilets out and painted and decorated.
Yeah.
So because we thought that was so important, that plus the tea rooms, and opened up a barn that was completely empty, just used for storage. We've now got what we call the Bassbridge Quarter and the Emporium in there. There's another 12, 15 areas for selling and a man cave.
So what's the construct of the place now? I mean, how does it work? It's not just an antique shop, is it? Because you're talking about multiple shops. When people come in, what will they find? What will they see?
Well, hopefully they come in now. We've got their new farm shop, which has just opened up, which is just on the right as you come in. That's
an important part.
I mean, that's a very important part because people come here, and it's an additional thing that brings other people. Not everyone who visits the farm shop visits the centre, and not everyone who visits the centre visits the farm shop. But look,
that's the answer to the question, though, isn't it? It's a multiple of different things, from farm shops to tea rooms, cabinet rooms that you can see behind us, right through to individual shops.
And, of course, events.
Of course.
And we've got the field, which was never used for anything. Just mowed once a year, and that was it. Now we have weekly boot sales throughout the summer, and we're even doing a free one on Wednesdays, which is smaller, but it seems very popular, doesn't it? And that's
small but perfectly full.
Absolutely.
Is that free for the
buyers and sellers?
Buyers and sellers.
Our Sunday one, the big one, is free for buyers, and sellers are a very reasonable price.
It's a page. Just free grass.
But what we've noticed is whenever there's an event on the field, people come in here.
Yeah.
Don't always spend money, but they come in.
It improves it.
You mentioned the cabinet. How many cabinets do you have?
There's about 180.
180.
And are they all rented by people?
All different people.
Yeah. Individuals.
Whether it's hobbies, small businesses,
jewellers.
All individual. Yeah.
Watches. People that have got a craft or something like that, they want to sell at a reasonable price. And some people will almost, I think some of the shops are like storage, aren't they? Almost. They need to put it somewhere, and then get the opportunity to store it and the chance of selling it as well.
Because they don't need to be manned. We handle all the sales, so people can put all their products in. They don't have to worry about staffing it. We do all of that for them.
And of course, unlike your traditional antique shops, the stock's constantly changing.
Constantly. It is vast. The difference from silver to coins to retro furniture to military uniforms, it's vast selection of products, which again brings big posters.
Yes.
Everything brings more and more people in, which is really what our job is.
Yeah. It seems to be working, doesn't it?
It's become very popular. Yeah.
And you've got the signs out regularly saying, boot fair or whatever the event is. And I think you mentioned in an early part of the interview about getting a music license. Of course, you have live music here as well.
We do. Yeah, there's live music played. Last year we played a couple in the centre. A restaurant are playing. They have regular live music in the garden. We've got plans for something quite big in a couple of years on the field.
Watch this space.
Oh, good. Petersfield Festival.
It's going to be here. I think of Glastonbury.
Petersfield.
But anyway, it's something we're talking about. Not this year, not next year, but the following year. And that's something to look forward to. But it's things like that they would never have thought about doing in the past.
So you've got events, you've got the boot fairs, you've got the farm shop, you've got the cafe and tea room, but you've also had celebrities here, haven't you?
Yeah, we've had a few. We've had the Antique Road trip here. They came once during the summer of last year, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
We hosted them for a few hours. That was good fun.
In fact, they're coming back next spring. We got an email literally yesterday, I think. So
I'm not surprised. And again, this isn't a paid promotion, but the diversity of the stuff here is incredible. I've been in a few times, and there's always something different. I mean, what are your visions for the future for Petersfield Antique?
We spoke about it being already a much bigger than it was when we started, but we want to just keep going forward. You can't go backwards. You can't stand still. You've got to keep going forwards. So we're looking at we trialled an attraction last year that brings children, families in, little Land Rovers that drive around the circuit.
Yes.
We're probably going to roll that out for 2025.
Excuse the pun.
Excuse the pun, yep. And maybe even have a little safari thing in the woods nearby, which would be good fun for people. And it's those kind of things that I think will make it more and more of a destination.
Yeah, which you want. And obviously family friendly and dog friendly.
Dog friendly. Yeah, very friendly. Very, very friendly. We have
dogs can go everywhere.
Yeah. In the 2 rooms, the whole centre, we do get a lot. I think it's quite popular because lots of. Also, one attraction here for the older person as well is the fact that it's wide gangways. Lots of antique shops. They've got little tiny shops. They can't even get in, or they're up a tight staircase.
Plenty of
everywhere you can get it. So it's been thought of.
It's wheelchair friendly.
Definitely. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Gentlemen, thank you so much for sparing your time.
Thank you.
It's a fascinating place. And I've obviously known about it for a while, but I think it's worth letting other people know, particularly as it's been such a good transformation of these old buildings. I notice you're so very friendly to the older people and disabled people.
And the young.
And the young, of course.
Constantly.
The young always get forgotten, don't they?
Well, I did mention to John earlier, I'm quite insulted because I found an antique, they call it a vintage briefcase. And I was given one of those brand new by my parents when I first started work.
There you go.
It's more than vintage, isn't it?
Yes, it's wholly antique.
Borderline antique, yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's Grey Matters at the Petersfield Antiques Village. As you have seen, it's a remarkable place. Not a paid promotion, but very much a look at how farm buildings have been repurposed in the countryside to be reused. And again, the start for us pensioners there. There's somewhere for us to go, but I've very much trouble navigating it. Until the next time, very much. Thanks for joining us. And it's bye for now.